What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relay reverse rants, no hate. So let's get into it. I want to talk about something that I just saw. I think it was IFL TV or Fight Hype. Might have been Fight Hype. Um, and Floyd Mayweather um, was being interviewed. He was showing his new mansion and just chilling, smiling, laughing, having a good time. And I started thinking about, 50 Cent, Oscar De La Hoya, Floyd haters, people who want to see him slip and fall, people who don't like to see him doing good, saying, "Oh, he's broke. That's the only reason he's coming back to do these exhibitions. He's broke. Floyd like to live that lavish lifestyle, and now he ain't boxing. The money ain't coming in." And I can remember all the Floyd haters running, putting their comments saying, "I can't stand that guy. F him. He's nothing but a bum. He fought a bunch of bums. Oh, he's a powder puff puncher. He's this, he's that." And I'm saying, wow, it's amazing how people gravitate to negativity. And people were saying, well, 50 Cent and him like brothers. No, they might have been at one point. But how close can you be with someone for them to get to the point that, for one, they're saying you're illiterate, you can't read, he doesn't know how to write checks, all of this nonsense. First off, if me and my brother's not seeing eye to eye, then that's going to stay between me and the brother. I'm not even going to jump on the phone and call my mom or call other family members to say, you know what happened? No. Now, if he wants to do that, whatever, right? But like me, it's like, nah, it's not, especially when you're going to put something out to the world for the world to see. And they know how people react to things. So 50 Cent, whatever it was, like Floyd said, I heard Floyd say, I never did nothing to the guy. And then he spoke about it was over some money. 50 is saying that he owed him money because he got the fight set up and this, that, and that type of thing, or owed extra money or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, if you're like brothers with somebody, there's certain things you don't do, and 50 trolls everybody. 50 always was known for doing that, trolling people and just starting shit with people. That's what he's known for. And Floyd Mayweather, he's not known for that. People go, Floyd talk a lot. He talks shit to his opponents, and then you go and smack the shit out of him. So, what are you saying? He backs up his talk. With everybody that was, saying he's broke. And I thought about, I watched the documentary of Floyd. I said, you want to know if Floyd never made it to be a professional boxer, or let's say he was coming up in the ranks and before he got that notoriety, let's say he died or something went wrong, and they would have did a documentary like the story of one of the guys who could have been one of the greatest, something like that. People would have said, man, that's messed up, man. See, people get bad breaks. I wish that brother could have made it. Because they say it about other fighters. They say it about other fighters. Ruben Hurricane Carter was a good fighter, and then, he went to prison for something he didn't even do, and we know his story. And people say, yeah, Ruben could have been this, he could have been that. Yeah, man, and Floyd would have just been another guy that people wished him well. They hoped that he get it. But it's funny, they want to see you make it, but when you make it, they want to see you fall. Now, I don't care about a fighter being cocky and thinking he's the best fighter in the world, thinking he's the best fighter of all time. I don't care about that. That doesn't bother me, especially when they can back it up. I get more, turned off by a fighter when he has more attitude and ego than he has ability. He's not as good as he's talking, but he just keeps talking trash, and basically his skills not even there. For anybody to say Floyd can't box, you're just a hater. You're just a fool. You've had that glass of stupid juice. You've been eating that jackass meat. You might not like the way he fight, but like I said, the man body is breaking down. Like he said, his body. That's where I get it from. Like he said, his hands brittle, his body was breaking down, and he couldn't. It's like he had to do what he had to do. It's your job. And my thing is, if he's such a shitty fighter and he run and hug like y'all say, you mean to tell me somebody that's a shit fighter can beat all these world class fighters? I mean, he kicked Canelo's ass for. I mean, he stood right in front of him. He stood right in front of Cotto. And no matter what Floyd does, people always make excuses to try to take his shine away. And to see his success, people just hated it. I saw the same thing happen with Venus and Serena Williams. They applauded them for being great, but when they just kept kicking everybody's ass and winning the majority of their matches, people started wanting to see them lose. Just like with Floyd, a lot of that shit was just jealousy. A lot of it was racism. A lot of it was just people drawing attention to the wrong shit. I mean, I've seen look, Conor McGregor is far worse than Floyd with his behavior and temperament and shit that he does outside the ring. When anything that's allegations about domestic violence or whatever. Look, I've had people lie on me, man, and say I've did things I've never done. And the thing is, when the truth comes out, people have said such hateful things in your regard, they feel stupid. Some of them just, well, I didn't know, And there's a lot of things where people don't like. We're not there to know what happened. Anybody can make an allegation about someone. Anybody, anybody. That doesn't mean it's true. We don't know if it's true or not true, but people do time in jail. How many people go to jail for something that they didn't do? Mr. Jackson, you're found innocent of the crime you were convicted of 25 years ago. 25 years ago, you was a criminal, right? Now all of a sudden they realize they made a mistake. A lot of that's on purpose. We look at Bill Cosby's situation, right? So I look at Floyd and I'm thinking, it's funny because I remember somebody brought that up to Floyd about 50 Cent and Oscar saying he was broke. And he said, well, one thing about me, I never focus on what another man make. You don't never hear me talk about what's in somebody else's pocket. And he's right. When you ever hear Floyd talking about how much money this guy got in his pocket, how much money that guy make, how much, and the crazy thing is when 50 Cent said, I'm looking at his face, watching his expressions and looking at him when I hear him say that shit. And I feel like it's animosity. Otherwise, even if just to say we're like brothers, or it's like you would, man. Hey, I wish him nothing but the best. The same way Floyd says about him and everybody. Hey, I wish him nothing but the best. Right? You ask Floyd a stupid question. We're not here to talk about 50 Cent. No, we're not here to talk about that. That's what he does. That's what he does. And I'm looking like, nah, man, there's no way you could be that close with somebody and then just all of a sudden, just like that, you're saying he can't read and write. Well, my thing is, though, if somebody's illiterate and can't read and write, and I'm calling that person ignorant, illiterate, whatever, that would make me think, well, damn, how stupid am I then? Because I can read and write. I can count, add, subtract, multiply, divide, do all that. So how come this motherfucker's a billionaire and I'm not? That would make me look real stupid, right? Calling somebody dumb, but this guy found something that made him a hell of a lot more money than what I have. And when I look at Oscar, it's nothing but hate. Here's a man that has, you don't even keep in touch at all. Y'all don't do business anymore. None of that. None of that. He's broke. He's broke. Yeah, he's broke. He wanted him to be broke. Yeah, you're mad, Oscar, because Floyd kicked your ass and he kicked all your fighters' ass. He single-handedly beat all your Golden Boy fighters. You know what I'm saying? And just to hear people say that is like, if you're my enemy, you're somebody that I hate, somebody I can't stand or something like that, then I don't care what happens to you. That's natural. You don't have love for your enemies. But to say, oh, I don't have anything, I don't like his ways, but like him personally, I don't just no, bullshit. Bullshit, man. Bullshit. There's people who I don't even care for. That I know it personally in life, and people will ask me questions, and I'm like, man, listen, I don't even care about that situation. That's not my business, man. I ain't got nothing to say about that. I have no comment. And I personally feel like people should do that in general. You're on TV, you're saying all of these things about somebody else, and what do you think about this situation? Man, I have no comment on that. I don't know. I just hear allegations, and I don't know. I'm not even gonna speak on that. That's the best thing to do. I don't agree with everything that Floyd says. I don't have to. I don't agree with everything anybody says. People that you love personally, that you know, I don't agree with everything that everybody say. You know, we don't have to. That don't mean I have to dislike you or have some kind of attitude towards you. I look at Floyd and I'm like, man, you know, here's a guy who came up poor, came up in a rough neighborhood, came up in the slums. You know, something we all can relate to in ways, and ends up being the richest fighter, richest athlete of all time. Ends up coming out. I mean, it's not even about the stats for me. Just the point that he was able to put himself in the position that he's in. Yet you have people want to see the man go broke, want to see him hungry, want to see him in a situation where he has to come back to boxing at an advanced age because he's broke, and then finally just get an L. And it's as petty as that. How could you just be so hateful towards a person, man? You know, Antonio Tarver's a fighter who I never really cared for. When he beat Roy Jones, people was like, but this and this and this. First fight, I said, yeah, it was closer than it should have been because Roy had to lose all that damn weight. This is before the fight was even over officially, and it was like, yeah, I think that weight has. I remember watching the fight, and I'm like, I think that weight had everything to do with it, because even Tarver being, you know, a good boxer, you know, he wasn't on Roy Jones level. Like prime Roy Jones and Tarver, you know, no. But the first thing I said in the rematch when he got knocked out, yeah, what happened to your boy? Man, I don't know what you talking about. I don't have no my boy. No, Roy. What you mean what happened? He got knocked the fuck out. What do you want me to say? Oh no, yeah, man. Yeah, I ain't think that, bro. He beat Antonio Tarver the first time. You do realize that, right? You do realize he beat him. You do realize that it was a close fight. Roy was tired. Roy was gassed. All that weight. That was the reason. Second fight, he was winning the first round with no problem, right? And then he got knocked the fuck out in the second round. He got caught with a shot, got knocked out. What do you want me to say? I'm not talking about weight. That was the first fight. I'm not talking about nothing else. He got knocked out in the rematch. When Roy Jones lost to Glenn Coffee Johnson, I said, Roy Jones is done as an elite fighter. He will never return back to what he was. Glenn Johnson is not even a big puncher, man. Glenn Johnson is not even a big puncher. And Roy Jones got starched. Roy Jones let Glenn Johnson run across the ring and load up punches on him, and he was, you know, hand on the ropes. And remember how Roy used to invite you in, and then Flurry's out the corner. Come on, wait. This was not Roy Jones anymore. This was not the Roy Jones that we knew. And I knew right then and there, like, nah. When he got starched by Tarver in that rematch, it was like, okay, it's one of them things that happened. We'll see how he rebounds. So when he fought Johnson and I seen that, it was like, nah, Jones is done. He was think about this. After Roy Jones lost to Johnson and Tarver, right? The only two elite status fighters that he had after that was Felix Trinidad, who was retired and came out and wasn't, you know, neither one of them was the same, you know, fighter. And Roy is older than Trinidad, some years older than Trinidad, 4 or 5 years older than him, right? And then Roy Jones had another fight with Joe Calzaghe, and we saw that he could not hang with the elite fighters anymore. Trinidad had a name, but he was not an elite fighter anymore. Roy was, you know, he was not the same. This was not, like I said, he would never be what he was before. He's getting older. That was that, you know. And I don't know, and don't focus on what Roy has in the bank, but Roy Jones seemed like he was going to be what Mayweather had become. And Roy Jones had to go all the way to heavyweight just to get $10 million against Ruiz. He had to go to heavyweight to do that. He never made $10 million in one fight as a light heavy, as a middleweight. So his popularity wasn't even close to what Mayweather's was. So when I hear people like Max Kellerman say Roy Jones was so dominant that nobody was talking about Mayweather, no bullshit. I knew who Floyd Mayweather was. I watched Mayweather all the way from the Olympics. I just was watching like Zab Judah. I seen in earlier days I saw more Zab Judah fights, and then I started because of my work schedule and stuff like that. And then when I went back to my normal shift, and I started getting back to catching up, keeping up with the fights more often. Um, so yeah, it was one of those situations where I knew who he was. We all knew who Floyd was. So I don't know what Max Kellerman is talking about. But at the end of the day, it was just one of them things. Like I'm saying, man, it was cool to see the man chilling. He's not broke. He's still doing his thing. And all these guys that want to see somebody fall off and want to see them broke and go through hardship in life, that's just rotten. But anyway, man, that's all I want to say on this video. I will catch y'all on the next one.